Lev Vygotsky. Let's focus on a child's potentiality and not just their innate abilities. Lev Vygotsky was an early 20th century Russian psychologist who made great contributions to the field of childhood development. He came up with the social-cultural theory, which states that early human development comes from interpersonal connections combined with interactions with one's social-cultural environment. He emphasized a person's potential to learn instead of the abilities one is born with. His belief was that development occurred first through children's immediate social interactions and then moved to the individual level as they began to internalize their learning. There are two key components of his theory. One is the zone of proximal development, or ZPD. This is the range of influence an adult or capable peer has on a child's learning abilities. It's a measure of what a child can do without assistance versus what they can do with guidance. Two is scaffolding. This is an approach to teaching in which the teacher tries to understand the student's capabilities and then gives them the proper guidance until the student doesn't need help anymore.
How does Lev Vygotsky theory relate to each of the domain's development? The relationship between the evolution of language and the process of thinking was investigated in Vygotsky's work. He thought that younger children primarily utilize speech to think out loud, but that was as the developmental conceptions and cognitive awareness, a silent inner speech eventually emerged. Although it is formed from oral language, inner speech, which is more compressed form. Proximal development implies the difference between what a youngster can accomplish on their own and what they can achieve with the assistance of a more capable adult or child. This assertion and the capacity of instructions-based learning is central to human intellect and necessary to cognitive development, was reinforced by this hypothesis. Everyone has a zone in proximal development according to Vygotsky. He observed that language use changes as a person matures, shifting from a baby's reliance on the outside stimuli to an adult's more introspective, private idea. As a result, culture has an impact on the person. External, egocentric, and inner speech are the three stages identified by Vygotsky as speech and language development. External speech. From birth to age 3, newborns learn to communicate through interactions with their caretakers. Egocentric speech. From the ages of 3 to 7, egocentric speech develops its center on an egotistical youngsters who solves issues in public and remembers them to use again later. Inner speech happens when older kids and adults are essentially capable of using two different speech modes, an inner dialogue in which they converse with themselves and verbal communication with others.
How is Lev Vygotsky's theory applied in the early childhood education setting? His theory is popular because it focuses on what the students are capable of doing with the proper guidance rather than giving them complete independence or dependence. We can see it used in the classroom all the time. For example, scaffolding can be applied when a child learns the alphabet but can't read yet. With a bit of navigation, they can learn simple words. Words from a like-minded psychologist. Monica Zethakai. My work has found that American Indian children who are actively culturally engaged are more likely to learn through watching others and listening in on activities even when they're not directly involved. This is similar to that of the teachings of Vygotsky because his emphasis is that children are apprentices. They learn through the guidance of others. In Zethakai's work, we learn that the culture that surrounds children also can teach them. Research showed that storytelling in indigenous communities allowed the children to recognize patterns, retell the stories with the same organizations, state what the lesson was, and apply the meaning back to their own lives.